we'll call the regular board meeting for the East Umatilla Fire and Rescue to order at 1924. Roll call.
Greg Phillips.
Mark Howard.
Chris Williams.
Chief.
David.
Okay, Chris Worland is excused. Get into approve, edit, add to the agenda.
I move the agenda be approved.
The only suggestion I have is there's two things. There's water pressure both in the old business and new business. It's in two places. So we can just leave it in, it's new, right?
Yes.
So we should remove number one from old business. And then I would ask, I thought we were gonna have another guest here, that we bumped the CBA ahead of the IGA, but I don't know that it matters. There. Oh, he's here? Oh. So I would suggest we bump that up to free up that guest before we talk about the IGA again. That.
Thanks, Mark.
That works.
There's still there. Is it enough?
That's your,
Yeah. I'm very appreciative, but at the same time, I could be last, no problem.
I got it all squared away.
So I would entertain a motion for the revised agenda.
I move we approve the revised agenda.
Got
How are you?
Hey, so
Sorry, I didn't have a smoke machine. I didn't do it then.
good to see you. Chris, Chris, been seconded by
Greg.
Greg.
Greg said it.
Okay, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay. All right, public comment? Hearing none, moving into financials.
I had my question answered in the previous board meeting.
Okay, any other questions on financials?
I move we approve the financial reports.
I'll second it.
Okay, it's been moved by Chris, seconded by Mark. Further discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay, payment of bills.
Everything top notch as far as you're concerned, Greg?
Yes.
I move we pay the bills too then.
Moved by Chris,
Second.
seconded by Greg. Any further discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Minutes from last meeting.
Sorry.
Minutes look good.
I read them, I didn't see anything.
Yeah. Oh.
You're okay. Would we like a motion to approve the minutes from last meeting?
Move we approve the minutes last meeting.
That's been motioned by Greg,
Second.
seconded by Chris. Any further discussion? Those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Okay. All right, old business. We swapped 2 and 3, and we'll get into the CBA update. We got folks in here, good. So we've had a couple unofficial, well, we've had some meetings, we've bounced some stuff back. The last meeting, just to kind of wrap up context, I wasn't in the room, but there was an issue around the salary tables weren't necessarily linear. Is a way to put that, I would say. And so from the firefighter to the was linear, and then once you add in the lieutenant piece, it diverged quite a bit. And so there was a couple emails that went around between the group doing the CBA bargain. Is it bargaining?
Yeah,
It's kind of bargaining.
it is. It's just in a more creative way this time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So bounce some ideas around about how to navigate the lieutenant piece to make it fit within the budget. And the email sums up essentially striking the lieutenant from the payroll or from the pay scales completely. And so just keeping it into the firefighter with the various stages of EMS levels. That was kind of an internal thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
You wanna,
Yeah, I'd love to. My name's Jared. Maybe you've seen my name in some emails. I know I've talked to a few of you, some of you I have not. I'm the president of the Health and Firefighter Association. We're the ones that took in. We're organizing East Umatilla as a shop, so they're under our local, but they're their own. You're your own shop out here, or the members have their own shop. So thus, they have their own collective bargaining agreement that's separate from ours. But I oversee both shops. And back to Matt's question, with input from the shop and from the membership at large, but I like to focus mainly on the shop as it affects this shop. And I have far more members in Pendleton, so I don't think it's the most fair thing to utilize my members in certain votes, but it affects a very small group out here. In the instance of this with the lieutenant pay scale, correct me if I'm wrong, we have one lieutenant currently on the line. We call it the line staff, guys working 56-hour work week. And I wasn't able to really find out what kind of process there was, whether it was equitable, whether it was legal, whether it was civil service, whether it met any form of equity for all other members to have the same chance to get that promotion. And so for the sake of equity with this new organizing of a shop and a collective bargaining agreement, and then also because I do really take into account your guys' finite budget. And that's of concern to me. A traditional union labor group would want to be like, we want to take everything we can, we don't care about you guys. I care a lot about you guys because you guys are going to keep the membership stable financially, and if we have a stable agreement, then it keeps the district stable financially. The lieutenant scale doesn't really make it unstable, but I think it would be much easier, one, for the sake of equity, to have everybody start at firefighter, and two, for the sake of being able to trend the financial output with a new agreement with new wages, how that works for, let's say, 9 months, 12 months, 16 months, whatever time frame, probably close to a year, to see like, how does this first fiscal year look? Also knowing there's going to be some retro wages back to July 1st when it's signed. And hopefully tonight maybe we could, like, this is all weird because it's the first one, but tentatively agree upon what we've come up with. And then we can ratify it, which means we've done it, it's agreed upon, it's in effect, then we got to retro the payback. But anyways, to make long story short, everybody starts at the same rank. It gives equity for the process to be able to promote. It gives potential to create a process that's known on how to promote. And then it gives the district an ability to look at forecasting, like, is this CBA and these wages something that are sustainable? But I would say with that, my next mind set or train of thought, I'm already thinking beyond the CBA. Maybe that's a flaw of mine, but once the CBA is done, the beautiful thing about the union and having now 30 members, because we combine Pendleton's with yours, not as far as who's working here, but who can represent this place, is political action and being able to get that tax base up for fire tax. Whatever happens with the boards over the next couple of years, I don't know, but I know the fire tax rate is at like a 1995 rate out here. And if we want to be able to sustain what we have and then be able to have more. That'd be the next step. The first step is just get a contract, have something that's set and able to be consistent, forecasted, it's wages, it's working conditions, it's discipline, it's everything. But yeah, with the lieutenant thing, if we cut that out and you guys are amicable about that, if we wanted to reintroduce it in 6 months, we could be a new memorandum of understanding. And if we don't, we could do it in 2 years at the next contract.
So my first question, I don't know, sorry, I didn't raise my hand, but cutting everybody back to fireman basic or whatever level to make it equal across the board. Is that a situation that's going to create hardship for people getting their pay cut?
One, yes, absolutely. No matter what, there's gonna be a now, when you say hardship,
Financial hardship for people because they're set at a certain wage, but if we say we want to go across the board with everybody, well, some people are gonna bump up, others are gonna bump down.
yeah,
Oh. I think he's just saying the one person that's a lieutenant would have that rank taken away. We still have the split on certification, right?
correct, yeah, no, like.
Basic,
If you're a firefighter
paramedic.
paramedic, you're getting paid firefighter paramedic.
So what I don't want to see is the current wages that people have being taken away from them.
So I won't say that, and I don't, I have no authority over what management chooses to put somebody under their classification. I don't have any authority to tell you that I can propose it. I can propose anything I want. I can propose like, we don't do the lieutenant scale if that makes this easier. Or I can say, I saw that email with another lieutenant scale that I think was linear. Is that right? There was another email that had a new lieutenant scale that looked better. Maybe it got lost in translation. I think I saw one from that Tony came up with or Chief Roddy. Anyways, if you wanted to keep lieutenant pay scale and say, we're gonna keep this guy at this pay, that's okay. That's up to management. But then we have kind of like either have a 1 versus 6 or a 6 versus 1 when coming to hardship. So if it were, okay, I have one guy that's saying, man, I had that pay and now I don't. I'm not happy with that. This is my hardship. And like, I appreciate that you look at it that way. But then I have 6 others, and regardless of how many we can actually fiscally support employing, I have 6 other members of signed cards that didn't have the opportunity to get that promotion.
Right.
So for the sake of equity, that's why I lean that way. For the sake of wages, I understand exactly what you're saying. My compromise would be there's still probably a pay cut. I don't know based on what the financial package was prior to CPA to what it is now, if total compensation is better, because total compensation includes things like vacation, sick leave, health insurance, longevity pay, 6% first pickup. So if you were to say, and I talked to legal counsel about this, hypothetically, we take a lieutenant, we move him down to firefighter. All these other members that are currently firefighters go to step 1 because it's a pay raise from where they're at, which is nice because it leaves 5 more steps raises. But you put him at step 5, it would be as fair as you could make it, but it probably would still take a hit on wages. So I don't know what you guys want to do with it. And if you wanted to go that route, like what I'm putting out there, it's not necessarily a suggestion, but kind of an option. I take ownership of that.
Right.
But I get what you're saying.
I mean, one of the reasons I bring it up is I have a union for whatever it's worth. Not much, but I've seen them do restructuring in our pay scale steps to the point of brand new employees making the same amount of people who've been there for 5 years.
Right.
And so it's like, okay, I just put in 5 years in this agency and now they're hiring people at that rate, same rate that I'm getting paid. So do we have a step system in our current or in the salary that would reflect people's already their time on the job? Because one, if you have somebody that starts today and you have somebody that started 5 years ago and now you say you're all getting paid the same, I'd say screw it, I'm done. Because all the hard work that they already put in, yes, they're going to get a paid bump, but now you have somebody who's got way less experience on the job or way less time getting the same wage. And that's something that I've never agreed with. And I've argued with my own agency about it and my own union. And I'm like, this is not okay. I don't agree with this because now you've basically screwed over the people who have been here and been, working for this agency for so long that now it's like, what was the point? So that is my concern, is people who have been here for several years. And yeah, I mean, I don't want to lose anybody because we're already shorthanded. And so if we start throwing these things around and say, okay, well, you've been here 5 years, you've been here 2 years, you've been here 7 years, you're all now at the same spot.
Have you guys done an evaluation of longevity for the organization and looked at years of service or placement yet?
Not since October, since I've been here.
Yeah, we added in some of that stuff, some longevity stuff last year, kind of into the what we are operating under currently. But not since we started discussing the CBA. And in my mind, like I agree with what you're saying. There's going to be winners and losers in that. But at some point this is where it's going to be, and we gotta draw that line. And in my mind, everybody gets a raise in this environment, regardless of years of service. And yeah, it sucks that the guy that's been here for 5 years, same as the person that's been here 1 year, but at some point we got to start at a baseline and move off of there, and trying to fit people in, put this right cog in and this thing in there just to fit these different. And I think we've cobbled together stuff like that for a long time, and I'm looking forward to, here it is, and this is the way it's going to be, and we'll have it documented, and we're not going to be, trying to make up for this and that and the other thing like we have in the past. The compromise to bump somebody up that was in that position, I think, is unique to that individual. That's a way to try to right size their wage as best we can within the system. And again, I think this is part of the bargaining that's happening behind the scenes. These folks are talking about this stuff. We're not saying you have to do all these things. They are discussing this amongst themselves and trying to come up with some sort of, how do we fit into this moving forward. So it's not ideal, but it's, in my mind, is probably the best win-win that we can get moving forward.
If you were to ask me from a labor perspective, what I want these guys to get paid as much as they possibly can and as best benefits as they can. But if you ask me from a global perspective, where I take management, or in this case, the district's status or stability into mind, I want the district to be healthy, because then the members can be healthy with their income and vice versa. And then obviously we look at, like I said, my mind may be too far down. We're already looking towards things like campaigning for levies for tax increase, so that this district has more money coming into it, because it's so finite, and it needs more. Everybody needs more. And I do think that the voters out here have seemed pretty primed, because they'll vote things through with hardly any campaign. So back to the contract portion though, the fact that everybody gets a raise, now I have the one member who would be taking a hit potentially. Now, like I said, I haven't calculated everything out to see, hey, you get 6% first pickup now. How much does that equate to cash that's not coming out of your check? You get this vacation, this sick leave, you get longevity, whatever it is. But like Matt said, and I do think this is unique to me as well, because I came into Pendleton as a 50-plus-year-old labor group, and they have a contract there. All I do is renegotiate articles of it every 3 years. This one, nothing. So that's where it's like, this is 0.0, starting point for us. And if we started at something that was as equitable as possible, we do have to make some sort of exception to avoid the potential for an unfair labor practice on my side, not on management's side. Because if I say I support a member being basically forcefully demoted and losing pay, I have to be able to articulate how I did my best to make it right financially. But besides that, one member, a clean slate here is a beautiful thing for like, been choppy. I mean, this is ton of progress from where, I mean, Don Jackson to now, big change. Old station to now, big change. But this is the ability for this place to really start to have a continuous trend of progress versus dips and lefts and rights, and just look at continuous progress and better service delivery is the outcome of that. I'm not your typical labor representative where I come in pounding my fist and I'm like, I want these guys getting paid this much. I know you guys don't have the money for that, you know? So I guess take all that for what it's worth. Maybe it's worth what you're paying for it. But I agree with you. I have heartache about this when I look at it with names and faces.
Right.
When I look at it as, when I tell myself, Jared, you're going here, you're getting a CBA, and management will do with it what they deem is right, then I feel a little better about it because I'm not looking at names and faces.
Right.
It's really hard not to look at names and faces with 24, let alone with 7. Really hard not to look at.
Well, yeah, and I appreciate that, because I want our employees to be well represented. I don't want them to just be another number on a piece of paper.
Right.
You know, the state does that all the time. I don't like it, but that's how it is. So yeah, I want to see our guys taken care of as best as possible.
Yeah.
And so that's why I brought up the question. I want to make sure that not just the financial side, but you know, I wouldn't say emotionally, but it comes down to kind of that as well.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure that they're taken care of that way as well.
And that's why, I didn't get asked to come out tonight. I called Matt today to let him know I was going to show up, so it wasn't just some random guy showing up tonight. But I figured like a face to the name and the emails would be good. Maybe a little bit of like actual articulable conversation about this topic. But I have heartache about that one particular case. But then, just like with my bargaining group, I have to do what's best for the majority, and I always have people that aren't happy with what I do.
Right.
But if I can have, say I got 12 firefighters and 15 firefighters and 9 officers, and my officers aren't happy, but firefighters are, it's a win. You know, this is a little bit different, but still the same. I want to do what's best for the shop as a majority, and it's a tough one too, especially out here. I won't get too much into that. You get a slower department, you see more infighting. You get a busy department, you see guys burned out. There's a sweet spot. You see until it's not the sweet spot yet, we're past the sweet spot, you know? So there will always be the disagreements, the chirping, the dissatisfaction. But this is, from my perspective at least, and their frame of reference is different. Their frame of reference is what it is. And I've told Matt this, I've told Dave this. What may be a mountain to this shop is a molehill to me. But to them, it's a mountain, and it should, because they've never seen the mountain I've seen, right? So there's a lot of growing pains with this. This is a big transition time, but it does create a ton of, I believe, stability moving forward for like a playbook to follow. There's still going to be, for lack of a better term, people doing dumb shit.
Yeah.
It's still going to happen. We're humans. We're tired humans. But this gives a really good framework for progress, I believe.
Was there 2 though that were going to be affected by possibly a cut in pay? Because that's what I was thinking. Just 1. Okay.
If it does help, on behalf of the crew, we represent them as the VP. We had that conversation. The one knows it's coming, and it's a possibility, and the majority of the crew voted go for it, because we all want that equitable line drawn, because from an equitable baseline that's like this, that's how we start doing this, is before, like he was saying, it looked like someone throwing the stemmy on engaging. You know, now it can be like this, and then we come up with, okay, we develop the officer program, have our personnel trained correctly. You know what I mean? No more appointing. It's actually done through civil service and protocol in place, which makes us safer because our leadership is trained. And also it gives us the knowledge we need to pass it on to this growth. And that's the thing we took into consideration. Let it come back. That's
Yeah.
That's why I wanted James to come with me, and he asked, should I go with you? I'm like, yeah, you should go with me, this is your shop, you know? I can't be at two places at once. I oversee the whole thing, but I got a wife, kids, a job. I like to do things besides work, believe it or not. But James, I want him to have ownership of his shop so that I have somewhat of a designee out here to help with the things that go on in the shop. And I think that continuity is good. So if you're wondering why James came with me tonight, need James here. So otherwise it's playing telephone and trying to convey what I heard and what he heard. But anyways, hopefully some of that gives you guys peace of mind about where we're at. 'Cause it sounded like the biggest holdup with the CBA was the pay scale. Correct?
That's how I'm tracking.
That's the understanding that I had as well.
I think the other articles, the other recitals, the other language is pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Not sensing any issues with any of that stuff. I think we've got our the benefit package inserted that's what we have. The other language is pretty good. It's just really wrapped up around make sure the pay scale is right, because that's gonna set the rest of the budget up to be acceptable. So, yeah.
And traditionally, not even traditionally, just even legally in the format of like how bargaining would typically go. But like I said, normally I'm coming into an existing agreement and negotiating a successor agreement. This is infancy agreement out here. So that's why I've been, you guys, and it's not like me trying to get the meeting or anything. You may not know how the process goes because I'm just letting it go how it's going. Typically, I wouldn't be sending emails back and forth with management and stuff like, hey, here's the whole contract, tell me what you think. But I need this one to be very collaborative because this is 0.0 baseline. How it would go in 2 years from now would basically be like, hey, let's set some dates for negotiating and we'll bring our proposals, you bring your proposals, we propose article changes, maybe there's some counters, maybe there's some caucuses, God forbid there's mediation or arbitration, but there's a lot different style when we're revisiting an existing contract versus this one. So I've tried to be very patient with this one. I know that it's been fire season, summertime. Usually we try and get them done before July, but we started this one in like
June.
Yeah, and barely. So we met inside ground rules or something.
Yeah.
So I just want you guys to kind of have like a little idea of, in a couple years it'll be different, but this time I just want it to be collaborative and amicable versus somebody saying this is how it's going to go and another side saying no, and then starting some sort of us versus them mentality.
So Jared, the last update that I have in my email was from August 5th. And did that one look okay outside of the pay scale? Or were there?
Yeah, that was the one I was just looking at.
Okay.
But there's a whole bunch in there. There's like an orange section, red section. Don't know which one. Attachment B, that's July 23 through 24.
Just want to make sure that I have the latest one, which I think is August 5th.
Yeah, July 1, 25 through June 30, 26. I think this is the pay scale.
And what I gather is nothing changed from the very initial proposal for, and I pretty much like I said, management. I knew good. And I know Tony from Pendleton helped come up with the pay scale numbers. I tried to lean towards the language side. And I feel like that's a good faith gesture to help let you guys try and see, like, is this something we can afford? But I don't believe anything has changed with the firefighter pay scales. It was that lieutenant one. So I think firefighter pay scale, correct me if I'm wrong, if anybody else in here knows any different, hasn't changed at all from the beginning proposal. It's the lieutenant one that may have changed, and now we basically tried to agree that like, let's just leave it off of the scale
Yeah.
until we come up with either a memorandum of understanding or we do a successor agreement.
And it's still in here, but I don't know if it's because that's the way my phone reads it or not,
Okay,
but at least the lieutenant piece and the captain piece is still in. So it just needs to essentially get edited out,
Right.
but
now what I would say, I'm not trying to push it through, but I'm trying to push it through. If we could tentatively agree, what we call a TA, the contract as proposed tonight, doesn't mean that it's a done deal. If we could TA the contract tonight, if everybody's like, yeah, this is the last holdup, we agree, we're past the holdup. If I could TA and Matt can TA, then we could say, take that whole document, one more look, and what we call ratification. You guys as a board go to ratify that contract. I take it to the membership to ratify that contract. I don't see any opposition to that because they don't have a contract. But that's the last portion of this whole process would be, okay, we tentatively agreed, we signed that document, initial dated. I take mine, you take yours, I show the guys, you show each other again. You say, yeah, I say, yeah, I come back, Matt comes back, we sign the official on the line, board president, IFF president, and whoever may be witness. I know it's you and St. Pendleton, but I don't know who the recorder or witness would be out here, but then we're done. Then we have a live CBA document. And if we could do that tonight, that would mean we're like within, Matt was saying maybe we could in the next couple weeks, Steven. I don't want to speak for Matt, but
a couple weeks.
we could probably get together and be like, yeah, let's sign this thing. And then for 2 years, we could be done.
I've not seen the CBA. Did it get sent out?
It was just within the,
Just YouTube?
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
So,
And that's probably based on the fact that they're the management negotiating team.
right,
And then just like I have my labor negotiating team, even though this has been far from traditional, then I'll take the document to the entire membership for ratification, and they would take the document to the entire board for ratification.
so how many people need to tentatively agree on it? Because I don't know that I would agree on anything I haven't seen.
Matt and I would have to tentatively agree on that.
Okay, so you don't need board involvement with that at all.
Board is just the final.
yeah,
So like in
Okay.
Pendleton, if me and city manager tentatively agree, he takes it to city council, I take it to the membership, we say good, he says good, we come back, done.
Okay,
unless we have.
well, it sounded like you wanted the board to sign off on it, and I'm like, I've not seen this thing, so I'm. not
I
gonna
should
sign off.
absolutely do.
Eventually.
But if
not tonight,
if we get there and we tentatively agree, then we can get that distributed here in the next week or two, so that our next meeting we can. In my mind, it would be our next regular board meeting. We would, yes, we're good to go. Maybe there's a step in the middle there or a special session.
Typically, I've never really held anything hard against that, but usually they wait for us so they can be like, we're not gonna bring it to city council until you guys say you like it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Usually tentative agreement would be like, yeah, labor group takes the labor group so that.
Yeah.
In this case, board isn't like, yeah, we like it, and they're like, yeah, we don't.
Yeah.
You know?
But I mean, also if it helps ease your guys' minds, the crew's been privy to like 90% of everything you guys are talking about, to include the pay scale. And with the one issue with the lieutenant, that's already been addressed. Majority of it said push forward. We're probably gonna have very little issue with anything that you guys can. Still have to come to us and we still have to find people that look at it too and say, okay, hey, yes. So.
My hard thing is I don't see a lot of issues because there's nothing to compare it to right now.
Exactly.
Now, when we do this again in 2 years, then maybe there was a little more in-depth look at this thing, but right now it's like, I need something to drive to work. Any car will do, you know, but they don't even have a car right now. So just trying to get them on the wheels right now.
Well, we want something that's gonna work. As far as the board's concerned, we want something that's gonna that meet the law and good reason, be fair, but work. It's got to work. These people decided to join a union. We can't create something that's impossible. We have to work within reality. So if somebody gets hurt, that's just the way it is. No, we didn't create this. I think it's a good thing. I think it's going in the right direction. But we can't create something that's impossible. We shouldn't try to.
Well, if there's nothing for us to take action on tonight, then I'm good.
I'm good.
I'm all right with Matt and Jared having the discussion.
Yeah, me too.
Not that I would stop them anyway.
Right?
Thanks, Matt.
Okay. This isn't the board to keep stuff to yourself, so, but if you wanna stay quiet, absolutely. Do we need something official then to sign tonight, for a TA, or is that
Honestly,
something
if
we
we
can?
just wanted, I know this is recorded, right?
Yeah,
We could even say we agreed.
we tentatively agree.
Yeah, we tentatively agree.
Yeah.
And then if we agree on that, I can get back to my wife and kids. Maybe you want me to hang out.
Good.
I don't know if I really want to. Sure, there's a lot of thrilling stuff coming up on the agenda, but I do want you guys, like, I know that this is probably foreign to some folks in here, and it's not to others. I know Matt works with SCIU and Dave worked in Pelton Firefighter Association. It's not new to everybody. But I'm by no means coming in here trying to do any wrong for this, or stretch it to a point that would put the district in a position to be unstable. That's my biggest fear, because I want as many people working as I can, but I also don't want their wages to be so low that, like, that's the compromise. If the guys are like, we want more people working, I'm like, well, do you want to be able to feed your family? And then if we're looking that long game I'm talking about, with being able to have political action and campaign and look for an increase in tax out here, that all negates itself with that route. And I truly believe that, from what I've gathered with the fire station, talking with Commissioner Schaefer about how things have gone over the years when he was mayor of Athena and putting things through, like, this area is primed to want to move things. They just need to be educated on it. And that's where the union has a really good stance, a really good ability to partake in political action that's not held back by employment or an employer. So just things to think about. Like, trust me, this is, when this came across my, not my desk, when this came across my email or my phone call, I wasn't thrilled. I wasn't like, oh yeah, I really want to put the extra time in my life into a shop out east of Umatilla. But when I look at the region, I look at service delivery, and I look at the fire service, I think it's the right thing to do. But it's a long game. Definitely not something that's going to be like, oh, we signed this and the world's great. It's going to be, we signed this and we have another piece towards professionalism, better service delivery, equitable pay, etc. So
I have one question for you.
go ahead.
How is the CBA gonna deliver better service for us?
So
How are these guys gonna be better at I mean, I feel like we've got pretty dedicated guys that are, trained and good at what they do.
I guess it's more in the long game that I'm talking about that. Like, when I talk about the ability to partake in political action, advocate for this district from a political stance to help things like tax levies and votes. But absolutely, if you wanted to stay as a private organization, have more staff with less pay, but I would say then service delivery has a lot of turnover in it. And then you probably have a lot of inconsistencies in service delivery with turnover. People that are like maybe young, come out here. I've seen it over the years. I mean, I've watched these units over the last decade. That's not a lot of time, but enough time to see that there's never been stability. And stability provides professionalism, and professionalism provides better service delivery. And yeah, starting out at 2 persons per shift. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't have paid on call, or what we have is like a reserve that can supplement that staff, but also the ability to help educate these guys on what being a professional firefighter is. Because, just to be frank, there's a big difference between a professional firefighter and what I see out here. And that's not to be slant towards these guys. It's just frame of reference. They don't know what they don't know. And there is the potential for much better service delivery out here. And I don't know if that's a political answer to your question, where I just walked around it and didn't tell you anything, but I truly believe this is we gotta do a little bit of pain for a lot of gain in the future. Otherwise, you're probably gonna see a status quo for the next 10 years.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Chris, I'm sorry, I have to chime in on this. You know, being a member of crew and as short term as I've been so far as a firefighter EMT, me visiting other fire stations and seeing their crews, how they work, where they're big enough to where they have engineers and truckies and they're divided because they have 700, you know, on their crew because they're New York City, stuff like that. The amount of professionalism, the way they carry themselves, they're all physically fit. They all have a training program that streamlines, so everyone learns the same thing. That's what we've lacked here. Being in the union is going to open up doors all over the place where we can go and actually potentially do training with Pendleton, with other organizations, learn stuff from them. It kind of opens the floodgates for different programs like the officer program that once we decide to actually have a lieutenant equitably, we are going to be able to facilitate that in a professional manner at a professional school, you know, in the civil service. You know what I mean? So it just elevates our level of training. And the more we're trained, the better we're going to be at our jobs. We're dedicated, right? Everyone knows we're dedicated. We love our community, but we love our community enough to be able to put in this extra effort to be able to elevate ourselves as professionals to do a better job. And that's how service delivery is going to get better. So I'd rather have 6 quality individuals than 7 really mediocre ones. And this is going to elevate us. That's how we all feel about it, crew wise.
And the ability to train and stuff with each other is always there, no matter what. Like, looking at these IGA between agencies, like, we could stay status quo. It's already past that, though. Like, this is legal now. Like, there's no going back at this point. So, but I do appreciate the question. I like being candid. I like having maybe crucial conversations about things where I want to be put on the spot. I want to have devil's advocates in the room. I'm not always right. I would never claim to be. But I do think the long game for this, especially when you look at like Umatilla County's got, I don't know if it's still, has 77,000 people in it. And there's 20 million fire agencies. I know it's an exaggeration. There's multiple fire agencies in a county that's smaller than the city of Bend, Oregon, right? The future is regionalization with this county. I don't know when it's going to happen. My chief thinks it happens in 2 years. I think it's more like 5 to 10. But this is the groundwork. Like, say I'm a chief and I wanted to combine with UCFD1. I got to get the labor groups to merge first. That's the biggest step. Having this here doesn't mean that, and I know there's fear of it, doesn't mean Pendleton's coming in here to take over anything. But it means the potential for regionalization is much easier. And that's the long game. And when I hear James tell me, man, I went on this call and somebody, a citizen of this district said, why was there an apparatus out here from another agency? They're upset about that. They're upset about mutual aid being out here. I love it. I love that. I love they're upset about it. Not because they're upset, but because that means they want their own agency providing service. That means that they're primed for maybe voting for more services. But it also means if we all have the same name, then would that upset them? You know? So there's so many answers to that question. There's probably some cons to all these things, but I really don't know what they are yet besides the immediate is a con. It's kind of like, man, this hits us right away, but it probably is something that's going to be fruitful in the long term.
So I wrote down tentatively agree, just to wrap this up.
Yeah, I'll go home if you want to visit this thing.
You can stick around, but we got you early enough. We still gotta touch on the IGA and we got some new business, so. Tentatively agree.
Whatever.
I'll probably say your formal names too. I'll probably,
At 20:08.
both of you guys say your.
I trust you, Matt. You can spell my name right. I do appreciate you guys letting me come in here and asking questions. I believe I sent emails to, I don't know who all I sent emails to. I tried to send emails to everybody I saw listed on the website for the board. This is probably 2 months ago, just trying to introduce myself, get feedback. I didn't get anything back, not offended by it, but I'm not out here doing anything wrong or be a scary person. If you have questions, please ask me. Like, the other thing about this is, whether it's me in the position or somebody else, this isn't like a one-stop, hey, you saw me, I'm gone. This is a long-term relationship. So whether you love me or hate me, or love the president squad or hate the president squad, they're now part of this organization for the long haul. So, but I appreciate you guys letting me interrupt your meeting tonight. And I think it's really been good. I think this has been a really good process because it's not been hard at all. So,
Thanks for coming out.
yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, James.
You guys enjoy your evening. Yeah, have a safe drive home, everybody. Can we shut this? Leave it open.
It's fine.
Okay.
Any further discussion on that? Okay. Do we need to revisit anything on the IGA, or did we wrap that up pretty good last meeting? Previous meeting to this meeting?
My only question that I had, that I didn't ask then, I figured I'd wait till now is, Matt, you did some figuring of dollars and you figured it's roughly around $20,000 more to contract with the city of Pendleton for fire department. Can we even afford that? That would be my question. Is that something that we as a district, budgeted, our budget shows that we can actually afford?
So, with the restructuring of the pay, this is I think that went out last month, months ago. Restructuring the pay scales and I guess kind of taking our personnel budget as it's written and filtering it into I would say simplifying it.
Right.
No offense, but simplifying it into that number gives us a carryover balance. And that's that green number, the 236.
Okay.
And that number, if you take 100 right out of that, we're still green,
Right.
according to what has been displayed so far.
Right.
I mean, there'll be some truthing of numbers and like.
I just didn't want to see us start depleting our contingency fund or anything like that.
And that
I
that
think
was
it's a
the
great
whole-
thing. I really do. I just want to make sure that we can afford it. That was my main question.
That was the whole principle is if we can't afford it,
Right.
like, this is a non-starter.
And it's
we
a,
don't go
and
with
it's
it.
a one-time.
Yeah.
It's just to get you back on your feet for however long it needs to be.
And so, and I think, and so that's conceptually is it would take a lot of the things that we're parsing out to a lot of things and putting it into one stop shop. So,
But my one concern with that is the chief talked about hiring an administrative assistant, so that $100,000 that or 80,000 you calculated, that salary would be on top of that.
that's that. Well, I think when we did those rough numbers, I think we just pulled out half.
That
of
was
it
half?
Yeah, to leave half in there.
Okay.
If we took the whole position, it would be a little more beneficial
Okay.
on our. But again, I don't know that, until some of these other questions are answered, I don't know that I think we're kind of holding up on hiring.
Okay.
Admin staff. Is that?
Well, yeah, that's.
Yeah. So we're gonna stop that until we get these other things, because if we can do the accounts payable and it doesn't cost us that much more,
Right.
or nothing more then there isn't a need for that. And maybe it's more of a need to reshuffle the day-to-day so that there's less back of the house and more front of the house, like staffing phones and office and greeting the public, and then, before it becomes the, after hour stuff. So, but that's, not really IGA. Any other comments on the IGA?
Those guys didn't know they were gonna be typing minutes here.
We'll get into new business, water pressure issue. Saw a couple emails, I think, on a water pressure issue. We talked initially on the build, do we put a pressure tank in? Now we don't need one because there's enough pressure within the city system. It turns out that's not the case.
Well,
it's legally correct. There was a no less than and there was a no more than, and the water delivery pressure was within that range. It's right down at the bottom, but it was within that range. And for everybody's memory, back at the beginning of this build, we were deathly afraid. We were the whole time about the phrase change order. And they told us that if we want to do a change order, the pump was going to cost us around $45,000 or something like that. So we said, no, wait a minute. The water pressure is good, is within the range, to which legally it was, yes, it's within the range. So we said, no, don't do it. And what we're finding out now is that it's got some difficulties.
And I know, well, I wouldn't pin my hopes on it, but the city's exploring grants to get another water tower up on the hill, which, you know, whenever that occurs, say it's 5 years down the road.
Yeah, it's at least 2, and it's probably more like 4.
Yeah, that'll likely remedy the issue, but that's still 5 years away, I'll say, you know. So do we have, you know, we didn't do a change order at the time, but can we add something like a pressure tank into our system now? It's going to cost money, but like, what's the opportunity cost? If it's 40 grand to put in a pressure tank, what's the trade-off? Like, what do we reckon if we don't do it?
Right now, they have to use either they have to use a pump off one of the apparatus to provide enough pressure to wash the hose, or they have to use Bill's pressure wash to wash the hose. Washing vehicles is well, Jeremy can tell you, you can hold the hose and the stream it's not much. That's not to say that there's not water there to wash a rig, but we've all washed a rig before, and if your hose pressure is not very much, then it's just not very much.
Well, and you know, the emails I saw, it sounded far more like a crisis, and I don't want to belittle like washing a rig, because it's important to keep our stuff clean. But if you don't have water pressure, it's not the end of the world, if I'm being honest. But if it's a crisis, in how I read some of those emails, it was like, oh gosh, this is the building's falling down because we don't have enough water pressure. That's just an exaggeration. But
Nope, sure isn't.
I guess I'd be open to hear other folks' thoughts, because
What is the most emergent thing that we need the water pressure for? Are we filling the tanks, or are we using hydrants to do that?
So if a tank is very empty, then they'll stop off of the hydrant. If the tank needs topped off or come back from a small fire where they use just a little bit of water, then they'll typically run a water hose and top it, fill it, and it just basically listen.
So that's done in downtime, which, I mean, it could take 5 minutes, could take a half hour, could take 2 hours. I mean,
well, if somebody's using a water hose and it takes them 2 hours to fill the tank, then there's a problem.
are there workarounds and other options for now? I mean, you're working around issues and doing other things.
Yes, there are, and those are being used now.
I mean, are we to critical mass, or is this just something for awareness that we can ponder and think about? Or I don't know that you're.
No, it's not. I don't believe, in my opinion, that it's a critical mass right now. It's an ongoing condition. It's an issue that continues, and it's just something that we, or this building, probably if we look back, if we knew at the beginning of this build what we knew at the end, we probably would have.
Well, we've done that. Yeah, we would have done that on some other things too, right? But we can't go back. I'm not ready to cut a check for 40 grand for a pressure tank, but I also, you know, if next month, if something's going to fall apart because we didn't take action, then, you know, I'm gonna feel pretty bad.
I can't tell you if something's going to fall apart or not fall apart next month because I can't.
But if it's,
Future.
well,
But I don't
it'll
feel
take us an
why-
extra 10 minutes to wash the truck, or it takes an extra, half hour to wash hose. That's not the end of the world either.
So I would like, I think it's worth further investigation, if nothing else, so that we have solid information.
Information
Like bring in somebody that can tell us this is what you need to fix the problem. This is exactly what it will cost.
certainly I can
You know,
get
there's,
the information and have,
if you call a plumber, they're gonna be able to point you in the right direction of who handles this type of thing. Because $50,000, that'd be a mighty big pump. That's a mighty, what I'm saying is I don't think it's gonna be that expensive.
then.
I don't think it should be. So I think
agree
if
with
we could get somebody in with the expertise to say, hey, this is exactly what you need, at least we have that information and maybe we don't act on it now, but maybe in 6 months or next budget cycle, maybe it's something.
But Chris, I'm not gonna argue with you. I'm on your side about this whole
Yeah.
issue. I think it's much less than 45 for 50. I think it would be much less than that, but I won't know for sure, or no one would know for sure until they talk to professionals and get.
Right, so I guess that my suggestion is let's do the homework and then we can choose whether we're gonna act on it or not, but at least we'll have some solid information of what the remedy would be.
Absolutely.
Yep, agreed.
Okay. Report safety fuels, vehicles, anything in addition to what we had?
Vehicle report is extensive. He tells quite a bit about each rig. We are in my exodus of our prayers about safety. Still no nail ones, still no three folks. We're looking pretty good.
Okay.
We have a bid for the electrical drop downs in Apparatus Bay we asked for a bid from Blue Mountain Electric, we asked for a bid from Gordon's and from Doyle Electric and Walleye, and I think Blue Mountain was the low at $4,300. That's the drop downs so that we don't have a bunch of electrical cords coiled up on the floor, which poses this tripping hazard. We're looking into air drop downs as well. But we're not sure. There's a couple of factors there that we have to find out. So
Generator issues update?
The generator's functioning fine, except that it doesn't like to start. So the issue is it appears that the fuel is bleeding off the pressure after hours and hours or days, and it goes through it attempts 3 starts. And there is a manual pump on the side we can pump up, it fires right up if we do that. I've been talking with the company and they're kind of making us jump through hoops before they're gonna send a tech out, even though honestly, I've gotten pretty irritated with the whole thing for $50,000 generator. So the latest one before they send a tech out is they want us to put a check valve in the return line and see if it's just bleeding fuel back. So it runs fine when it starts correctly. How's that?
Okay.
So that's where that's at. So that is in progress because I definitely want to get that off.
Do we have that in writing so we're not avoiding any warranties with them so they can come back and
They
say, you
actually
guys
sent us
did
the
that?
part.
Oh,
They
okay.
sent us the part.
Making sure.
Yeah, they actually told us where to cut the hose and yes, I've been doing exactly, yeah.
I trust that you would. I just know how some of these companies are. Well, you did repairs on
violated
your own.
them.
I don't know if we haven't touched the building for a year, if we haven't touched it.
Yeah.
It's just because of that.
Thank you for that. Fire Prevention Week, October 5th through 11th.
Can't say enough how much I appreciate Christine jumping in because she's contacting liaison with the schools and whatnot. And for me, it was easy in my past career. We would just go wherever the captain told us to go and we give a presentation to whatever school we were at. But now it's being formulated, and rather than having random tours, random people just walk up and knock and they catch a tour, we're trying to coordinate that, and it's going to be kind of neat. It's going to be a little helter skelter just because it's our first year, but then after that, I really believe we'll get 50% better and then 50% better again, and it's gonna be really, really cool. The OSFM is sending us a box of, we shouldn't have bought that stuff, I don't think. They're sending us a box of some fire prevention giveaway items. So that's kind of neat. And I want to get all that I can from the OSFM now.
And we ordered hats and pencil. I mean, I don't know, maybe we spent $400 or less. I
Barely,
mean,
barely.
so, and if we don't use them for whatever reason, we'll continue to have them, but that way we've got little.
We've got some little glow sticks with bracelets for the kids because Halloween is right around the corner. So
Cool. And then the audit was completed last week. This is our next thing. I did get a call. I talked with Missy must have been last week. It was a week before. Or it was early last
the
week.
week
Monday.
of September 8th.
Yeah, it was like Monday or Tuesday. I got a call from her. And she said everything went fine, looked good.
Thank you, Joanne.
Thank you. No issues, and we'll be sharing out the report once the report is finalized.
And it's worth the score that I'll give later on, but that is all going so well because of her. And I know as much as I know, but it's about this much. She knows as much she knows, and it's about that much. And I can't say enough how dependent that this entire operation is because of the paperwork and the organization that's done behind the scenes from Joanne.
Well, and then Joanne, like the afternoon before they were showing up, they ended up faxing this laundry list of things that I mean, instead of giving it to her 2 days ahead, it was 3:30 in the afternoon. And so she jumped through all those hoops to get that done. So thank you.
Okay. Any questions about the chief's report? Anything good of the order? Mr. Phillips?
None.
Nothing's for me.
I think for me, my priority continues to be merging the two districts, looking at the May election. So I think we just need to keep that in the sights and have our checks of, well, we need to have this done and this done, and we'd be talking to the public at this date and, those sorts of things, so.
I absolutely agree. That needs heavy focus.
We'll keep it on the track. So,
Fire majority. 2/3. 2/3 and then a majority. One of them is a double majority.
I don't believe so.
This isn't a money issue, so I don't think the double majority applied. So it does it. I would have to check.
Not
I
sure.
just would be, that would be my main thought, that one of the elections requires a double majority.
I didn't know there was any difference.
He could be right that it.
You might be right. I don't remember that applying last
Last time.
2020. We voted on, the vote took place on May 19th. Now, it was overwhelming to have the districts combined, but then I don't remember us did we talk about that, Matt? Did we talk about double?
No, we just did it. They said we had enough votes.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure they would. I'm pretty sure we wouldn't have merged if it
That's
wasn't
right.
legal. So,
If you feel there's pushback.
so.
That. There's no, one of the elections potentially has double.
I take up two people, so I'm good.
All right. I would entertain a motion to adjourn if there's no other
I
business.
move we adjourn.
We moved to second it.
Greg will take a second on that.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 2028.